Okay, guys, can you hear me? Hopefully, you should be able to hear me and the music now. Let me know in the chat. And today we're doing a live stream. We're going to be doing a venomizing Spider-Verse characters. I've selected a few that might be in the movie, a few that are from pretty much the comics where you've got them like across the Spider-Verse. So we've got a nice selection. And I'm just going to put symbiotes on them. Started playing around with a bit of a composition and rough places and that. And yeah, we'll get on with this shortly. How's everyone's Monday been? Do a couple of hellos. So, hello to Koi Gaming, Alien Animations, Minecraft Transformers. Do we have anyone else in the chat? No, just you guys for now. If you're in the chat, say hi, leave a like. Venomized Spider-Punk. Spider-Punk is on the list of ones to be venomized. The idea for this is I want to do a composition piece with them all, with kind of like the part symbiotes that I do for them. And I've been trying to roughly lay out where they go. So if I show you on a new layer, so we've kind of like got the original Spider-Man here. So this will be Spidey, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, an unknown female Spider-Man character. It could be Silk, it could be the Black Widow, Jessica Drew from the alternate dimension, the original Spider-Woman, and then Spider-Punk. And once we've done all them, because it's probably going to be a couple of live streams for this, we're going to then look at doing the look at maybe doing something in the background or something. But what my plan is to take each of the characters one by one, sort of like sketch out the actual details of them with a symbiote. It's going to be my interpretation, so I will look at references for like Spider Gwen, but the rest of them is going to be just down to me doing it, and then I'll be building them up and sorting them out bit by bit. So I think we've got a choice here. We can do. I think maybe we should start with the original Spidey, to be honest. We'll keep it with the original ones on there. So we will start sketching in some of the details for Spidey. And obviously it's nice and simple. We're going to venomize him with a venom tongue. And we'll work through that and work through the pose. I have a new layout, if you guys have noticed. What do you guys think of it? I thought I'd make it a little bit more colourful. So we've still got the full screen for the iPad, which you can see. We've got a black box below me, which is going to be for any notifications that pop up. Me in a nice little framed picture, hi, and then logo above and a cool background. So hopefully you guys are liking it. Can you hear the music still? There is music going, so let me know if you can't hear it, and I'll sort that because it's on the iPad. Should be getting picked up by the mic. Just got to balance the right level for it. You can't hear the music. It's really interesting because I've got an audio. So one audio input's my headpiece. Can you hear the music now? Saying that, it's coming to the end of that one, going on to another song. Or an advert. Can you hear the advert? No. Hmm. Okay then. We won't bother with the music. We've got technical issues on that. Or did you hear the ad? Did you hear it at the end? You can hear the advert. Okay. So can you hear the music now? Put a one in the chat if you can hear the music. And I'm going to start working on sketching out some venomized details onto the Spidey sketch. So obviously Venom's quite iconic, and I think it would be appropriate to have the original Spider-Man character on there. tiny bit. Yeah, it's just basically create a mix is music playing, so it's just going to be music. There'll be no words. It's just a little bit. But if you can't hear it, then let me know. I'll stop it a bit later on. So, how is everybody doing? Are you having a good Monday? I'm quite looking forward to this piece actually, because I want to just create a nice illustration with a load of them over a couple of live streams because the movies come out. Obviously, as you guys know, if you've been friends or in the community for a long time, my favorite Marvel superhero is Spidey. So enjoying doing them. Ah, possibly. I will sort that later, Koi, but that's not a bad idea. It could be doing a threshold with the music so it's not too loud or everything else. But that's fine. I haven't seen the Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse movie, but from the trailer that I saw last time, I think it's going to be quite a good movie. It looks quite fun and quite interesting, which would be really good to do. So, in case anybody's wondering about what I've done earlier, or what we're doing, I've laid out a rough composition of the piece. Now, I saw flicking through things like Instagram and a few other things. Uh, I was looking at kind of like references to Spider-Man and that to pick the characters, and there's a really nice dynamic version that's used on a cover of one of the comics by someone. I can't remember the name. I just basically pinched the first pose like that of the Spidey in the middle. I thought that looks iconic, but then I took the picture away and I started trying to look at different poses for the characters I wanted to use, which is why we've got kind of like a bit more dynamic poses around. I want to make it a little bit more explosive, and in terms of they're leaping out towards you, which hopefully I'll get by the end of these illustrations. And yeah, just wanted to work on it. If anybody's wondering, I've turned the music off. It's quite loud here, but if you guys aren't hearing it that well, then we'll just go with what we're going for now, and we'll pick it up a little bit later. Um, Minecraft's having a good Monday. Nice. I've had a manic Monday, if that counts. A little bit of a manic Monday. What's going to do? The Flash movie's out as well, so I'm at two minds of what I'm going to do for Friday's video. Kind of want to do something Flash related. I know we're on about Spidey here, but maybe I should do the Flash with Spider Sonars, or do Flash Sonars across the multiverse or something. Not 100% sure yet. It's going to be an interesting one to try and figure out what I could do as Flash Sonars, really. Anti-Flash Venomized. That'd be quite interesting. I do have Flash comics actually. I've got a couple. It's great. I've actually found all my old some of my old comic supplies. So I've got a handful of them here, basically. That I've had. Even one that I drew my own variant cover on a while back, which is quite cool. We've had a Jade Hunter. Welcome to the drawer. The drawer, that's welcome to drawer. I'm sure that's one of our groups on the members. So thank you for that and welcome. And hey, haven't seen you on stream in a long time. Yeah, it's just been nostalgic where I had there's a Spider-Man Superior Spider-Man team up, which basically had a kind of like Spider-Man team up with the Avengers in it. And it was the Superior Spider-Man, so Doc Ock taking over Peter Parker's body in that kind of like universe. But I did my own variant cover of it like years back when I first started doing Comic Cons and stuff. Never sold, but still quite proud of that one. Right, let's work on the details on this a little bit. I wanted the tongue to be coming out, but I also want it to kind of, I want the tongue to kind of point back to him in a kind of like way across the face. I'm going to try and, as I add the details, I'm going to try and think about this piece a bit more. So this live stream, or this series of live streams, it's going to go on for a couple of weeks, this one. It'll be at least two, maybe three. I'm going to do in stages. So this first one is going to be roughing the sketching out and potentially doing all the inking for each of the characters we've got so far, or as much as possible. Um, and then after that, I'm going to do colouring the flats and start the colouring part of it, and we might finish that in maybe next Monday's stream, depending how we get on. And just going to build it up bit by bit, but we'll probably focus. Actually, you guys, let me know what you want to do in the chat. Do you want me to focus on one character at a time and completely render them out to a certain point, and then go move on to the next character? So each live's pretty much those characters being done individually, or do you want me to just do like the inks and everything in one go? It'll be quite interesting to see what you guys will be interested in. God, he's got to have his nice iconic eyes. Love the simplicity of the design for Spider-Man and just the concept. I always love how relatable Spider-Man is to pretty much everybody. It's one of my favorite things about the wall crawling webhead. Just how relatable the character is to be. Who's the best picture of it? Yeah, kind of follow the head up this way, and then we'll have one come down here. Oh, I like how that's looking already. That's quite cool. One at a time, you think? Yeah, okay. I'll focus on this Spidey one for this one, and then we'll work on to the next one, and I can then work on the thumbnails for it afterwards, which would be quite cool. But yeah, what else was I going to say? Who liked the last Yu-Gi-Oh! SCP video? I put a poll out to try and get some feedback on the videos. I might do it on a couple of them going forwards. I kind of just wanted to get the a feel of what people think worked well, like what you're enjoying within the video, like the narrator's voice, the story and the lore, um, maybe the artworks, what draws you to it. I'm trying to kind of find out what could be improved a bit more, which is quite cool. And I've been doing quite a few shorts, so you will see shorts coming out lately for older videos to try and boost them a bit, which is quite cool. Um, right, Spidey's main costume. I've got all these Spider-Man references, and then I'm drawing a blank at his main costume design, which is iconic, but it's the pose that I'm drawing a blank at more than anything else. So I'm gonna want some bit of wrapping around him. A good rule when you're doing something being like venomized or having the symbiote is a lot of people don't think about it, is think about the color scheme. Spider-Man's got a lot of red and blue on him, but the symbiote's obviously black for Venom because it's going to be the black suited Spider-Man. Now, that's great, but if you want to do a transitioning, like a transformative piece where you're showing the before and kind of like a mid transformation like this, you want at least part of it to be two-thirds venomized. There's a rule of thirds that work really well, and visually and everything, it works super well. So if something's off, so for example, if I'm here, I'm in the center, it's fine. You can split into thirds down here. But if I was all the way over here, it'd look a bit odd to you because there's a big blank space on this side. I'm trying to work out my hands in reverse mirror. Big blank space on this side, it doesn't look quite so right. So it's the same concept with the colors. There's at least two-thirds of my background's kind of like a dark bluish color or blue and dark colors. Chloe says, I'd love to see original ideas of yours with lore. I bet you could pull off some really insane stuff. I am thinking of when I've got the multiverse story arc where we have uh the Transformers and stuff and Marvel heroes being venomized. I am looking to create my own OCs that isn't like the Nexum and stuff. Put them into kind of a create my own universe with like a story. I have got a few stories I've kind of come up with ages ago. I started writing manga. I might turn that into something quite cool. Um, Minecraft Transformers says, did you guys watch the Super Friends when you were kids? I'd like to see some of them drawn. Could have a whole list of those characters like Apache, Chief Yet, and Firestorm, Hawkman, Cyborg. Yes, I also watched Spider-Man and his amazing friends, which had Iceman and Firestar, and they were all roommates, which was quite an interesting concept as well, which is quite cool. Got a lot of podcast did with this multiverse thing. Yeah, Dempseyverse. Yeah, I've kind of got the Dempseyverse going with my narrators. They jump through stuff, but a dedicated, unique story for the Dempseyverse would be quite cool. Uh, Problem is, I've got the narrator, so if I create something new now, I've got to create it separate from that entire universe. So I need voices and stuff for the characters that can be completely different. It'll take a little bit of thinking, but I'm sure we can pull something off, make it work. I've also planned to do the for the competition. Each character's going to be done complete on the screen. I'll make the sort of like the sketches larger, do a final render of the picture, save it like a copy of it, make a final render. I might have to make a separate file for it. Pull them in and put them where I want them because I may decide this venomized character looks better being right down at the front, larger with so it's right there in front of you. But then you'll have the other characters under the arm in the background, sort of like a bit further away, so they're slightly smaller, but it gives that whole dynamic feel to the piece. Oh, you could voice a couple, yeah, yeah, definitely. Quite, I'm up for that. Now you've said it, we might have to make it happen. Do a special with Koi Fish Gaming voicing Cold One, a mage who specializes in ice powers. You could that'd be quite cool. And then I can give it so that you've got you're really good in like the mock exams and the lessons or something. We set in one of those like anime settings, like a magical school. But as soon as you take the real exams or something, you just go nervous or something goes wrong. Kind of like live streams. That'd be quite cool. Um, I'm quite evil, aren't I? Also quite interesting because the way this is going to kind of like be designed. Um, it is quite fun to figure out how I'm going to do certain aspects of this. I think the hardest thing for me on working these out was the dynamic poses for each of the characters. I didn't want them all in the same pose, so I was looking at references that could potentially drop down really nicely together on this, while keeping a little bit of a cartoony feel, but at the same time trying to stay true to the shape of the characters, which is the hard bit. And there's a lot of artists, even in the books and stuff that I've looked at that are absolutely fantastic at drawing them, and they're just dynamic and stuff. So you've got like the on the cover, like the designer was Angela Hart, and the cover artist was Oliver, I think it's Coipel. But basically, a cover like that that's dynamic looks amazing. So it's like trying to find references of ones that look cool and work. That's not probably not probably. I can't talk now. That's not a problem, Shade Hunter. Thank you for joining, and hopefully you can make it to another one later on. I really do appreciate you joining as a member and joining the live stream. And we'll catch you later. And if you pop back in later on, feel free to say hi. Let's get this footing. I suppose this is going to be the really the easiest one to do in a sense, because I mean Spidey's whole concept and design is like the original Spider-Man with a symbiote on is going to be kind of the basic version. There's not going to be too much detail. I don't want to do a huge amount of detail on this at this stage as well. I was debating, do we do a digital painting style? But I think I might go back to the same as my videos, that comic-y style that we do, and merge the two together. My gosh, that's awesome. Meanwhile, the Legion of Doom, the supervillains, are plotting a vile plan. Yes. And not getting very far with their plans because, you know, they are supervillains that are absolutely terrible at what they do. And I know the webs don't look right on this, but for now, I'm just penciling in some web designs, and I'll look to try and make them match a bit better a little bit later on. That's probably going to be a completely dark leg for the symbiote. Yeah, we might get a couple of characters done, actually, thinking about it. Um, I do know I'm a bit early, and I haven't actually shared this on my Discord. So people might not even know I'm streaming yet or streaming tonight, which would be quite funny. Venom Spider-Man. I need that. Just want that reference to load up. I'm going to put the logo on. I kind of want to get the logo right in this shape. I mean, there's some cool updated versions of it that have got like the spider bits go over the shoulders, which is really cool. But the original cartoon version, they just came up and went down, if I remember rightly. Um, so I kind of want to just follow the general theme of what the original is somewhat, because that's obviously the like the core concept that we're going to be following. And then because it's just as here and it's gone a bit weird, the design's actually going to look a bit weird now because it's going to come down to this bit to here, and it's going to go back up. And you're kind of not going to see much of the symbiote design, but you've got that folded over kind of effect on the chest, if that makes sense. Um, which is quite cool. And I know this is kind of like the rough sketching stage, but I kind of want to just get the shaping with this bit a little bit more, just to his arms. Nope, that's not the Spider-Man I just want. I want classic Spidey. There we go. So they're solid. Those come down the side bit like a thought. Comes down there. Comes partway down his arm, and then it becomes that. And I'm sure the back part of it is the same. I'm gonna look up a reference picture because I just realised I need the back of Spider-Man as well, and that's not always easy to find a picture of. It also means I need to find the right Spider-Man, which is oh so fun. Nope, it's not that one. Not in that one. Which one's it in? I kind of love the fact I've got all these references. It just means it's a nightmare to find anything. Oh, cool. A black Spider-Man suit. Is that an actual suit? So if I'm right, it should just be a case of, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can leave it how it is. It's one of those weird ones where you know something, you got to double check. Looking, got to get dinner ready. Ah, you're always getting dinner ready. No, that's cool, Koi. I suppose what's everyone up to? I mean, I'm obviously doing a Spider-Man based illustration of old Webhead here. What about everyone else? What are you guys up to? Spidey's chest. I didn't think that's the case, but that's fine. Kind of run all the way down here and get smaller to go all the way to his finger. These from here. Yeah, that goes there. And obviously we've just got the whole approach like this, and kind of want to just follow the direction of the curvature of the body really to a degree. So then they can be straight, but you've got to follow that the way the body curves. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Saying that, I'm sure I've messed that hand up, but that's not a problem. And this one's got a symbiote hand on, so this is going to kind of like be. I want to give him a couple claws in the end, like just make his hand look like being the Black Spider-Man suit. We do have that. Get back to the simplistics. It does have that for the web shooters on the top. Ironically, because it's a symbiote, I think that's almost done. This is one of those weird ones where doing the actual roughs for Spidey don't take too long, so I might spend a bit more time on the actual inking stage. So some of the bits that we're going to be doing is sort of like paying attention to like the details in here. Check the size of that brush. Cool. So I will probably try and pay a bit more attention to the line weight on this piece to make certain bits look or have a certain feel that works. I mean, the nice thing is, obviously, I can zoom in more on a live stream, which is really, really good. And then we can add a load of little extra details in, just give this a bit more of a feel that it's kind of like going over his face and going to take over his mask. And then make some design decisions to just tweak a few things as we go along. Yo, Justin, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. We've got several characters in the works, so we're just doing the line art and the inking for the actual main original Spidey venomized, and he's kind of like going through. I do know Marvel have done a whole Venomverse before anybody says, so I do know for a fact that there is a whole universe where all the characters have got symbiotes. Loads of different Spider-Man ones, Doctor Strange and that, all of them. But I thought it'd be quite fun to take the Spider-Verse characters from across Spider-Verse and into the Spider-Verse, because that's based on the comics basically having the whole uh well, they had the Spider-Verse with the whole totems, like the bride, the child, and that. Your idea, Justin, I think that's quite cool. I'm sure I replied to it. I think it's a good idea and it's worth a go. So yeah. I just need to ask, are you on I'm pretty sure you're on about you doing the idea, but it's quite an interesting one. I did quite like it. So yeah, definitely. Let's be double check saying, yeah, it's a cool idea before I realize, oh, I've just agreed to do something. Hang on a minute. No, I'm pretty sure it was you coming up with the concept and that, but that was really cool. I quite liked it, to be honest. It got me interested because it's not something I would have thought of. Um, yeah, I'm not going to commit to anything on my side there, Justin, just because I have an awful lot on at the moment with everything. But if you want to do it, yeah, by all means, go for it. I think it'd be quite cool. Right. Really, I mean, I can put extra details in, but I'm trying not to do too many details past a certain point because I want this to be epic, but at the same time, I also want to keep it simple to a degree. I kind of want a comic-y feel to it at the same time as having it just, yeah, just work, if that makes sense. So we are going to be spending an appropriate amount of time on each piece and then arrange them at the end. I've got a rough idea where I want them to go. I just need to make sure that they fit when we get to that stage, which is quite cool. Right. I do know I want the real back piece of his mouth to be dark and kind of work our way out, kind of make it creepier. The problem with it is I have to come up with a new backstory with the amalgam characters, which would make sense with both of the fused characters into new character. Welcome to my world. Yeah, that is the problem, but go for it. Do a bit of research, look into it, figure it out, and off you go. It wasn't trying to sound nasty. Welcome to my world, but that is the dilemma that I often have a lot of the time. It is working out, getting the right amount of contrast between existing lore and story in with uh well everything else really. And sometimes that is a bit trickier to do than one might hope. Still quite cool though. So yeah, got my intention by tone. I'm glad you did. I didn't want to come across as like, yeah, it's like, yeah, welcome to my world. It's the same dilemma that myself and Popcross and anyone actually over the internet. There's a few more cropping up doing stories and lore since Popcross on their art, like Knights of Arcane and that, which are really cool. It's nice to see the kind of like more in the niches of crossovers and stuff happening. It's really nice to see that. And I'm hoping eventually it'll pick up a bit. I just need some, I think I just need something unique for me. Once I can get that in, it'll be rather cool. But what that'll be, I don't know. So we'll just see what happens. Although I am having fun with all the stories and that, and trying to keep the blend of like lives to the blend of from live streams to the actual videos going. I have started working on the story, mapping it out for the community redraw. I know what I want to do for it, and I will be starting one of the illustrations in the next week. When I have to make a thumbnail at some point, okay, I'm gonna have to. Oh yes, yes, you're gonna have to. I find for me personally, I make the thumbnails, unless it's a live stream, I make the thumbnails at the end. In fact, let me see if I can move this around a bit more. Okay, because I've got this thing down, the screen down here, as you can kind of see. It's like, haha, that might be a bit more interesting for people to see, so you can see me talking as well. I'm not ignoring anybody by not looking at the camera. I'm just multitasking. Um, Basically, the thumbnails, when I do them, I have an idea of the title ahead of time. But when it comes to the thumbnails, I don't know what artwork I'm going to have. So I tend to wait till after I've done the video content and then make the thumbnail at the end. Now, a lot of advice over YouTube, and it is niche specific, but you can't always do it, is to make the thumbnails first and do the titles and then do your video. Can't actually do that very well with our niche because a lot of the thumbnail is the artwork. So at that point, it's a case of just working your way around what you're doing. But once you've done a piece, you kind of get an idea of what's going to be good in the thumbnail. So, like my Sea Creature Switcheroo, the monarchic, it was the first one that I drew, but it came out so well, I just knew, yeah, that one's going to be good. That one, I'll see how that one goes. It might just really get attention. I haven't made a video since 2021. Well, that's not a problem. I've had this channel for about 5 or 6 years now, and I made um, I hadn't made a video in about 2 years as well when I got back into the swing of things. So by all means, just go for it. And if you're making videos or you're making shorts or whatever you're going to do, um, let us know in the Discord that there's a shorts community which you can join, which have loads of helpful advice for long form shorts, getting to your goals and stuff. Um, I I can send a link. I can give you a link on the Discord, and it's just really, really cool actually. But yeah, but the best thing is to just go for it. Just make a video or two and just go for it. Just see what you can come up with. Right, now I've got the fun part of having to actually link the all back in. Oh, this is going to be interesting. It's quite weird because at this stage, even if I was to add the cross hatching and making a few bits, kind of. you know, darker in some areas and work on the line weight a bit more. It's you won't really see the true effect of this part until it's kind of done. And then once that's done, you'll be like, wow. But yeah, it's one of those weird ones where you've just got to get the right blend of blend of line weight to give detail. And obviously the hands look like they've got a lot of detail, which they do. However, they lose a fair amount of detail um, just because of the added effect, which is quite handy. Yeah, hands handy. Um, it's moved a little bit away from where everything is. So because it's further back, I don't have to do as much detail on it. I can focus here for more detail on the front part and work on the rest layer. 80% trick, welcome. Also, congrats on your achievement a while back. Has it actually arrived yet? That's the key thing. You know what I'm on about. Has it arrived yet? Have you got it? Is it in any of your videos? If it is, I haven't seen it and I've got to go back and look at your shorts. That sounds so weird to say. Has it arrived yet? If not, let me look at your shorts. YouTube, you have successfully made it completely and utterly weird, random, and yeah, to do anything. Thank you for that. I bet I got a few chuckles out of that. Ah, awesome. I haven't looked at a lot of shorts from the community, in all fairness, in a while. I've been trying to focus on figuring out how to work on my own shorts, uh, as well as being sponsored with a few things. But that's absolutely awesome. Congratulations on that achievement. I think I just need to somehow get the emails back up and running to get the trending music each week, and then I can use them because one of the ones that I've tried two of them on shorts, and one of them's done really well, but I think it's also the content of the shorts. Um, and the other one's kind of like just started it today. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully things will pick up, which will be quite cool. And I do need to see the movie, the Spider-Verse movie soon. I definitely want to see that. Cool. Let's move on to this side. So this is going to be like a. It's weird how the leg muscles often go because it's like you've got one here and you've got another one that comes on here. But also kind of like being the black suit Spider-Man, it's kind of like everything becomes quite slender. But I wanted to put a little bit of a symbiote strand here too, just to emphasize we're looking at the part of the symbiote still. I think this is probably going to be the easiest illustration to do in terms of the character's initial line art and line weights because most of them have got solid shapes and that. I've lifted up and the camera's moved. Huh? They've got solid shapes and that, which means that it works over time. I'll make the video later and then do the thumbnail now. Okay, if you can do the thumbnail now, then that'd be awesome. It's entirely up to you how you want to do the thumbnails, but yeah, go for it. I know, I mean, this thumbnail for this live stream was a bit easier because I just use standard images and drop stuff in, which works really well. Probably going to get a lot of people join and go, oh, it's not the actual multiverse, so it's not an actual film. Let's go, skip away. But I'm not worried about that. This is just for hanging out, doing some sketching, doing some drawing, and having a good chilled time while we work on the artwork. I think the initial lineup for this guy's done. So I can delete that there because that's absolutely useless. There we go, that's looking a bit better. Um, right, so I need to check I've actually got enough of this. That's why I check. I've got a broken line somewhere. Where is it? Is that it? The hardest part is to find the broken lines on this. Cool. I will be doing obviously the details like the rendering on the tongue. I want to render these out really detailed. I just need to get the basic shapes and elements in. I tell you what I'll do is I will render out the flats and then should we just do the flats or okay, I will do the flats, the basic gradient colors to a degree, and then we'll move on to the next one and we can do a whole hard light pass at the end. I think if we can get a couple of them going, it'll work really nicely. Depending on obviously what happens with the color scheme and that. But Spidey's got this really nice red that I want to try and find. Kind of, is it this red? I kind of wish I had a picture to color pick, but I don't want to color pick exactly. But we shall see. Be interesting. Oh, tip centric. We've got a call tomorrow, haven't we, at 5? Or are we still waiting for an email to come out telling us it's at a random time in the morning instead? I do believe it's tomorrow. I've got like every week now instead of every other week because it all changed. Cool, awesome. I did think so. Thank you for confirming. Well, that needs to be darker, but that is roughly the shade that I want. So I go on to this. Oh, Carney Symbiote. That's the red we want. You know when you see a color and you're like, yeah, that's the one I want. I'm kind of doing this the reverse way because most of it's the symbiote. I'm basically hoping to just get the symbiote blending in with the mask and that a bit more rather than the other stuff. I can kind of have some fun here. A few bits of the symbiote kind of crawling out across the mask, and it's going to look a bit daft to start with, but it's going to work really well. I think this is something that's finding that balance between the comic and the actual part where it's leading into or onto the mask to create the effect to make it look like the symbiote's actually stuck to the character. It's quite cool. She's supposed to be answering the answer question. Oh, good, because hopefully she'll answer the answer question I gave of what's up with my email because I don't get the emails and I haven't had any of the emails and it's like, look, give me the emails. I just want it. If not, I might have to ask you a favor, tip centric, but I'll ask it on the Discord rather than on here. Well, I see. I'm gonna ask somebody on the actual Discord at some point anyway, because it's getting ridiculous now. I keep having to ask and get like the music and stuff in the in the Discord for what, people to tell me what they are. It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not even worried about a lot of it. It's just knowing when the calls are, and that um list of songs is all I really need. I'm not overly worried either about the whole part of you know, obviously the listening groups are awesome. I mean, we managed to get into a couple of really cool ones, but yeah, it's like, come on, just give me all I want. I just want to be able to get all the info that everyone else is getting. Please. That's all I care about. It's all that funky info. That's not right. That's better. You can tell I grew up watching the cartoon Spider-Man the minute, and it's my favorite character. The minute I see the colors, and I'm like, that's the color. Oh, you like how this is looking, Alien Animations? I hope you do, because this is turning out quite nicely. I'm having fun working on this and just sorting a few bits out. Yeah, it is. It's always nice to be able to work on an illustration and then focus on a few bits. The one other good thing about this is I'm not going for a super detail rendered type of illustration. I want to be detailed, but still have a bit of a cartoony vibe, kind of like the whole Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse films. They have a rather nice feel to them about pretty much just about blending in those different styles together, which seem to work really well. So I just want to do a couple of bits where we've got elements that work. And my layers are limited on this, so once I've completed a character, I will be flattening it down, ready for the next part. Um, flattening the character. Squish them! To get it working and to get things to look how we want them to. So I think the next one I want to do is the whitish colours, because we've always got Spidey's eyes, which should be nice, and right. And then we've got the symbiote Venom style face. Now there was one character that I wanted to do from the Spider-Verse, but it's just drawing the character how it is, and it's not really as fun as what we're doing. Um, Basically, you've got the Spider-Man that's bonded with the Carnage symbiote perfectly, uh, which is great, and it's basically just Peter Parker with a Spider-Man suit and a few extra bits and external web shooters. But the drawback is he's already got a symbiote. I'm kind of trying to add the ones that don't have a symbiote. I mean, I could probably go mental with the illustration of it, is my interpretation. But the whole point of this one is to kind of draw these in so that we'll have inspiration from it if they pre-exist. Like Gwen's got a Spider-Gwen, uh, got a Gwenom costume, which I will be doing the general gist of it, but because it's going to be part transformation, it's not going to be completely the same, which does work. And I will also be adding some webs going around as well. So some of them are holding some webs, which would be quite cool. My main plan is this is going to be quite a, say epic, this is going to be quite a nice piece, but I'm expecting it to take a couple of live streams. So we'll get as far as we do on this one, and then we'll work through it. But obviously, I'm zooming in on this because I want to get the elements. I did take inspiration for that actual face from the Spider-Man Carnage face. Subconsciously, it looks like. So the whole bit where it's blending around the mask and showing the extra bits from the cartoon, I don't know if anybody saw it. It's in the Web Warriors original cartoon that came out. It's like, yeah, you can kind of see the inspiration for the face and the mouth now. definitely. But it's still quite cool. All right, I want that to be a darker one because I need to have the change and stuff. So I need this inner part of the mouth to be darker. Usually I can do this with some gradient bits, but I really want to just have this pick up the darkness from here. The reason being is the light's going to be hitting probably from, it's probably going to be hitting from, let me sort that out. That's, so the light is probably going to be hitting from this kind of angle here. I need a better color. So it's going to be hitting like this direction. So coming in from the top left down. So once that's actually happened, then that'll work quite nicely with what we've got in mind. What I've got in mind, sorry, because I've got a plan for all of these characters and when we render them out and do them. Which is going to be quite cool and quite fun. I'm hoping once this is done, I can, well, when this is fully done, the actual illustration, all the characters are done, it will be available to the members on the Google link, which will be awesome. What's my favorite alternate Spider-Man? Ooh, good question. It's a tricky one, that. I don't have a favorite. Okay, I've got two. My favorite Ultimate Spider-Man, as in male spider character, because obviously you've got female Spider Women. I think my favorite Spider-Man character is probably design-wise, I like Spider-Punk, definitely. But in terms of abilities, I think it's going to be uh, it's one of his clones. It's the kind of like the Scarlet Spider, but the one where he gets the spikes come out of him is the totem. I'll show you which one actually. Um, this one here can turn. This one here, this like dark scarletly one. I don't know how well you can see that, but him. I'll see if I can find a better picture of him. Even though they're quite cool and epic, it's finding the right picture. This one. I quite like this guy because they've all got like something inside of them, and here's one kind of like turns him into a spider monster when he lets it out a bit, and I like the idea of that not being like a complete curse of the radioactive spider, like man spider. It's actually part of the story. In terms of my favorite female one, I'm torn, but I do like the look of, even though I haven't seen in any. I mean, Silk's quite cool. And I do like the original Spider Woman. I'm torn between May Parker and there's another one from an alternate universe, and she's basically just got a really cool costume. Um, did I hear what happens to Mary Jane in the recent Spider-Man comics? No, I'm not up to date with the recent comics, unfortunately. I would love to be, but I'm not quite up to date with everything. Right, I'm gonna have to. Bit more purple. Cool. So, oh, I missed a spot. Glad I spotted that. No point having the original like spider suit for him if he's not gonna be wearing it all. So what I'm doing now is, and it's a good trick, is if you've got anything dark like a black color or something and you want to do shadows, actually add, helps her actually go back to the color I wanted. Kind of do the color you want on there, take the bit where it blends where it's a darker color, and then add that for your shadows. And it seems daft, but it's almost like a natural rim light on the shadowy area that you want. And it'll seem really daft to start with, but when you're actually working on it, it will help pick bits of the character out for where you want the shadows to be. You just need to do it a little bit lightly, but it's that color differentiation that adds a bit of a color variation to it, which is great because it's making it look 10 times better once you've done it. You don't need it everywhere, you just need a few bits here and there in the darker shadow areas. But it allows you to just add some shape to it. And then when you hit the lighter color from what you've got, so when I go to here and I pick the lighter color, so I'm going more towards, it's really daft, but this color wheel is the best tutorial I'm going to give you. We've got this as a color, which is kind of a blue on here. Now, if we want to go lighter, we'll go to the left on the color wheel towards purple. So basically, if you want to go lighter, it's normally warmer. So you're going more toward the reds and the greens around this way until you get around to here. If you want to go cooler from your color, you go the quickest route to purple. The trick is purple, really. If you're going lighter, you go the longest way on the color wheel to get to the purple colors. If you're going cooler, you take it the quickest way to the blues and the purples. Um, um, and you could probably tell. Well, ask the chat. I'm fine either way, but ask the chat. Just put like spoiler alert because you obviously don't want a spoiler alert. And then yeah, sorry. And as you're doing this, then you lift the color up slightly. And what this will do is this will give you a nice lighter color to work with that ties in with it. And now we've got this kind of like symbiote style affected color. And it kind of ties in quite nicely on the aspects where you want to have it. And of course, we're not tied in completely to having it on anything, but we want it on the bits where the light's kind of going to be hitting the most. And a bit on the face, because the whole concept is light up the face a little bit, even if it's coming towards you in the dark, as that's going to be where the main light's going to. You already get a really comic-y feel from this, to be honest, which works really nicely. It's got this whole kind of comic aspect to it, which works out quite nicely. Before I even put my Venom texture on, now I'm going to be cheeky. I'm going to hard light the, actually it's overlay. So I use an overlay and I go to a blackish color. I get this kind of like a rosary pattern type thing. Let's see how large that is. It's perfect. And then all I do is I just go all over the entire illustration with it, and then I change the opacity to make that texture. Now, because I've got on the layers and I'm doing this a particular way, and I wish I'd done this in my other videos, we've got this texture on it, which is quite cool. And if we start dropping the opacity, it then becomes minor, but we've now got a texture when you zoom in for the symbiote, and it's not perfect, but it gives a little bit of an extra effect. It's almost like a halftone comic-y style, which works really well. Right, so alpha lock the tongue. And the same principle, I want to go darker to start with, so I go down a bit and I move more towards the purple. And all that does is it makes it nice and darker onto the elements. And because I know roughly where the light's coming from, I can now I kind of default to the top corner, but that's fine. And then again, you want to go lighter, you go up this way and you move away from it. And then you start getting this lighter color on the tongue. And it's so simple a trick, but people don't realize it. And you've got this nice gradient effect, which is starting to build up the basis for the design that we've got. Now, which layer was that one? Ah, yes, that was inside the mouth. Same principle. On this one, I'm going to go more purple, so I'm going to go to purple because I want it to be quite dark. And now we've got that, but that's too light. So if I go down here, Now we're starting to get kind of like a nice effect in there. And then we'll go back to whatever we've got left of the color and we'll just go up and the other direction. It's really simple. It's like these pro tips make the massive amount of difference in what you're doing for working on it. And because it's kind of like an organic texture, you will get a little bit of lighting near the back, but we won't get much. Just want to put a bit in there, and that's already starting to look quite cool. And it's these little hacks, I say hacks, these little tips that make the difference between something that someone's looking at and go, oh, that looks okay, or that looks amazing. And it's like a small little bit here and there adds up. I guess nobody's responding. I'll give it 20 more minutes for saying. Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, we've got 4 viewers, and if no one else is doing it at the moment, then yeah, we'll just go for it. Um, Everyone's had fair enough warning by now. It's gonna be fun doing the blues for this. This is definitely gonna be going. Again, go lighter, and then you'll start to see. Oh yeah, we've got the light colours for it for the suit coming in. Hey, Stella Kitsune, how's it going? I've seen a couple of your videos on YouTube. I've liked them. I think I commented on one of them. If I haven't commented on a video yet, I will do at some point, but I quite like them. I'm really enjoying them. I'm loving the voices you've got going for it as well. Just they really tie in the story really well. Essentially, Peter got trapped to Mary Jane in the Ultimate Universe. Mary Jane sacrificed herself to go send Peter back. Peter betrays his friends, and Mary Jane started family in the dimension. What's another guy in this dimension moves faster than no. Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, I didn't alpha lock that there, that's why. One going a bit funny. That's quite an interesting turn of events on that one, to be honest. It'd be interesting to see how they develop that story further, to be honest. But yeah, no, that is quite an interesting one. Cool. And for red, you just go towards the orange. Basically, you're going towards the like you move away from the colors, and then we get that beautiful effect of Spidey's face, that lovely glow effect that you've got on Spidey's costume. Just yeah, that just sells Spider-Man to me. This kind of like colors. Peter's still hung up about her, even though she can't see him anymore. The other superheroes, Mary Jane, is just mad at him. Oh, that might have tied into a story I've got with Superior Spider-Man. They've done a similar thing on that, which is quite cool. Yeah, that's quite an interesting one. Right, so these I can now merge down. So merge down. I can merge all these down because this, other than this last layer, which we'll just sort now before I forget. So a bit more towards purple, take it in, and then work on adding the bits in. I know he's not got a real eye, but you kind of color it as if it is an eye. It sounds really daft, but it makes perfect sense later on. And then you just go more towards the lighter side of the blues for this to make it whiter. which is really daft because, you never want to, if you're doing something white on an illustration, you never want it pure white unless it's a really high reflect or glow. You want it to be slightly off white, even if it's just the smallest hint of blue or a warm color, and it will sell the difference. It will make the difference. It will just completely work. It's a pro tip that, and I never knew that for years. I was over 30 when I found out. So yes. Ben 10 returned to Netflix today for me. Ah, cool. I'll when I get my Netflix up and running again, I'll have to have a look at that. So the question is, do we stop here? Now that we've got Spidey done, I can unlock, well, I can lock that because that's the position where he's meant to be. He's kind of where he should be. So we can have him like this. I kind of want to do the final lighting on the next one. So who do we do next? Do we do Gwen Stacy? Do we do Spider-Punk? We've got Miles. We've got so we've got to think of what to do next because I'm going to do the main lighting shading on a final one at the end. So we've finished one character, and wow, we've only been going for about an hour. This is what happens when you plan ahead a little bit. I actually get moving. Um, so this is quite a cool first one. So, but he's going to be behind well, he's at the front of it all, but I might have him positioned. So if I show you guys what I was thinking, depending on how it goes, because Procreate cuts bits off, I've duplicated it. He might be further down here. Oh, I didn't actually. I didn't think of that. That's an interesting one to do. That's better. So that's the one I'm going to keep. So basically, move him down. I picked one there, didn't I? So basically, what I want to do is move him down, third time's a charm, and maybe make him larger here so he's coming at us and the characters are behind. But I haven't decided on that one because it depends on what happens. He does need centering a bit more. I might even just shrink him down a bit and stick him in the middle. So it's kind of like a more of a, he's slightly larger than them. But we'll sort that one out later. That's not an issue. Um, I've got a backup of it and we've got the layer there, but they need to be turned off. So if I Spidey and we lock that and turn that off, I can then, I know we've got that layer there, but I don't really care about that layer anymore because we've added him. So complete that. We've got to pick the next one. Oh, well, you say that, Koi, but I haven't done the main lighting overlay effects that I do. In fact, I haven't even, that's an actual good point there. I haven't actually done my full effects on it, where that needs to go to the top. I do need to actually do this effect, so yeah, let's add this in. I haven't done this. This is a normal thing that I do on my art, so we'll add this into it. Because actually on this one, I need to just go everything with that kind of grainy texture that we do. Potentially drop it just slightly. Put that onto an overlay. Pick a nice light source color, what we're going to start with. Soft brush. I tend to go with my 7% Procreate on opacity on this brush, and then just add the bits in here. Oops, wrong layer. As cool as that was looking, wrong layer. It does help to be on the right layer. So start again. So add the effects here to bring the emphasis to the face and a few elements where you want it to be. So because I know where the light source is, I can push the face more, and then I'm going to push just a few bits down the arm here and up the arm. And this is why I've kind of like done the blue and purpley colors, because as I'm adding the lighting effects on all these layers now, you can see it's kind of picking up the almost like a bluey green tinge that works really well. So it builds up over time. Spider-Gwen, maybe Spider-Gwen next. That would be quite a cool one. Yeah, we'll do Spider-Gwen next. We'll get a picture of Gwenum up so I can have some true references, because I know that a lot of people will be like, "Oh my God, he hasn't done that right." But yeah, so that's pretty much Spidey in a nutshell. Uh, let's just erase a bit around that side and then drop it back in from here. That's better. Yeah, so Spidey's going to be locked and stopped. Turn them off. So if we do Spider-Gwen next, and this is why I wanted to do these little composition pieces, because what I want to do is blow them up onto the page, do them with the detail, maybe a bit smaller than that, um, add all the detail in, and then build it up from there. So if we knock that down a bit, go back to our pencil there. Right, I do need Gwenum up because it's got a rather cool design, um, which needs to be. The head's got a very particular design to it. That'd be quite interesting. But Gwenum's got a rather unique design, as I say, and I do like it, but I also have to make it work with the pose, which is going to be quite interesting. So let's have a look at the posters, because the kind of mouth is around her headpiece, which is really cool, but at the same time, it's like, damn. Yeah, so that's the concept. Oh, Dempsey, Gwen Stacy did get venomized. I know, I know, but Gwen Stacy is in the Spider-Verse stuff, which is why I've kind of added, because I wanted some characters from the film as well. So this is the only one that's venomized from a comic that, other than the original Spider-Man. In fact, I think Miles also has been venomized before, but this is going to be the only one that's going to take a reference from it to be done. Um, and then I'm going to work on the rest of them with my own version, because she's got a rather cool design for hers, but I need to obviously make it so that this works. So I want to keep a bit of the pink on the face going in. That was the best bit. Right. I need to get this working with what we want to do. Are we going to do the design from the comic or a new one? Are we going to do the design from the comic, or a comic reference I've got on screen here? I'm going to add a bit of the design for it, because even if I make the rest my own, like a half transformation, I want that mouthpiece around her head and the tongue coming out from like the collar. But I need to see how that works on a couple of references, because that's kind of crucial. Um, the trick was you can't see it properly, you just see enough of it. Basically, it's just got a cool design over the top bit that I want to copy or use part of the face bit for. Um, right, so we'll lock that layer. Let's lock all these other layers just to make sure I don't accidentally do anything with them. Um, do you want to make the background a bit darker for you guys? Then I start working on it. Does that work a bit better in terms of the contrast for you all? If I work on it like that. Does that look a bit better, or do you want the white? Her eye is really, really quite cool actually. She's got this really sleek venom eye. I decided to choose this because I think when the colors actually happen, it will probably look a bit better to have a background that's a bit of a off color. And plus, let's face it, a bit of an off color background there really makes it pop, which is quite cool. Yeah, we're doing Gwenom. We're doing a version of Gwenom. By the way, Spidey says hi, just to be really random. Um, but yeah, I want to have this because she's got, and this is the really cool part of the design. It's almost like teeth coming off the top bit. It's like an open symbiote mouth around her design, which looks so amazing. I've got to ink this afterwards, but this is going to look so cool, I reckon. I also want to kind of have the symbiote going over. So it's like, again, with these, it's the transformation stages. They're poised, but at the same time as being poised, like in their direct motions, they're transforming. So it could be like a mid transformation, which I think works rather well and rather nice with the characters. Why does that not seem to work how I was expecting it to? Have I gone too far? Oops. Let's put that back on Studio Inco. Have I gone too far on that one? Because that's supposed to be. Okay, that's going to be a dark symbiote bit there for the contrast. That comes here. That way. That's it. That's better. Um, now we've got her kind of like sleek, slender. But again, I kind of want this to be quite again over because what I do like about the original design is the white and pink contrast on the eye. And I'm just going to put a very faint eye design for the original one in there. But I think it's going to actually have a much higher contrast. Well, I have to do a stream one day for Dempsey to design his favorite Ultra user. Yeah, you should do a stream if you're gonna if you want to. That'd be really cool. Right, this is where it gets really interesting. So the inside of the mouth design is quite cool, but then what happens is the hood actually becomes a tongue with teeth. So as this goes down, she's got this whole design with like teeth coming off it for the tongue, and it's not going to be completely wrapped to her body, but like it is on there, but it tends to wrap around her body. But she's got this whole like giant venomized tongue that just goes on forever. I mean, this is like the really longest tongue in history. Um, this kind of effect here. More teeth on the tongue. I mean, her tongue's just massive. It makes Lickitung from Pokemon look like it's got a stumpy tongue, basically, is the general gist of this. But it comes down the design with the costume, so it works all the way down. It's got little teeth on it itself, which is really cool, but at the same time, it's like, really? Gopher Dude hasn't been here in a while because he's ducking from paying pizza bills from all the mentions. Possibly. Gopher Dude's been about a little bit. I expect it is probably more a case of as with all of us, life's getting life's one of those things which just happens, unfortunately, and can't always be helped. So we've got that, we've got the teeth in that, and I want that to be the light. So I want the contrast here to come down. I want that to be the normal arm, the design. So I want symbiotes to come along here and then there. So then we dip back into the original design where we've got the classic arm going down this way. Just mention that the narrator's ETG Fridays, the TGA Fridays, just popular to mention. Possibly. How many likes have we got? If we've got more viewers and you're enjoying it, please leave likes. They do help get this out to YouTube. Currently, we are doing a kind of like a Gwenom design, like well, Gwenom venomized design. Um, it is effectively just Gwenom. Trying to think how her hands are for the reference, because that's the little finger over here. I think that's how it went, and that just needs shrinking down a little bit because that's too large. Yes, it's looking a bit better. I also think maybe that doesn't actually fully tie in. It comes in that way with thing, got a thumb going there. Thumb, finger, finger, finger. Okay, that should work. And then I'll have this arm become symbiote covered with it kind of wrapping around and doing a few more things than the Spidey. So it's gonna have a few little bits of extra detail, but that's because I want to have a rather cool transformation in effect. And then a hand back here is going to just be potentially really sharp fingered and coming back. It's really weird trying to keep a slender version of things that are like sharp and lethal. You could, you know, take the characters out. I've got to draw a slim, cute, slendery version of it because that's how the symbiotes work. They take on features of their hosts. This one here, there. Looks quite cool. Justin, when we do Venomized Hobby Brown, aka Spider Punk, can we make his spikes elongated? The points look like it's a spiky head will. Depends on the space we've got for the picture, but ideally, potentially it could be. There is some potential there. I need to remember what I did because I roughly sketched in some elements of the character. But obviously, I want to do some. That's cool because then I can add these rather nice large spikes to the Venom style. And that really comes down that way. I want her leg, which is going to be like that, just rather sleek. Just bring this round, rather curvy bottom. Dempsey, is the reason why you like Spider-Punk is because he's also British? No, I just quite like the design, to be honest. I think it looks quite cool. So No, no ulterior motives. I just like the design, so that's why. Okay, so that's there. So if we have that as part of the original leg design, it's going to be interesting because her legs are black, sort of like black in color anyway. So I may have to differentiate the Venom symbiote just slightly from the original feet. But I do kind of think it should be quite cool, maybe having, maybe her legs should be just the symbiote version. It's really weird drawing these like shoe bits on a symbiote. Um, that's the point. I also want to do the tongue wrapping background because it's just so crazy long and designed for a symbiote. It's like also add a bit of color onto the leg area, I think, just enough to make it interesting. Don't like that bit there. We need to adjust this slightly. Okay, so is that kind of working now? It is. And then that kind of like symbiote legs can just around here for a normal leg. Now we had a reference for a shoe, and it had a little Spider-Gwen sticker on it, which was a trainer, which I thought was quite cool. However, I kind of want to change that now back to the original Spider-Gwen, who just has these kind of like bright blue shoe bits. Because A, it's a simple design, and B, I think it's just going to look better in contrast. So if I turn that layer off, that's our layer ready to do the inking stage. Go back to classic view, it's easier for me to find the colors that I want here. And then we can ink the details in on this. Jeff Matsuda art is awesome. I would watch a Ben 10 series in that style. Yeah, no, that's quite cool. He's the guy that does Jackie Chan Adventures and Batman. Yeah, I want to see. There's a few other ones that've got quite cool art style that I'd like to see. Is it James Ramos? His comic art style is really cool and outstretched and stuff. And I'd love to see that one done as kind of like an actual animated series with it. I think that'd look quite cool. So now we're going to make sure I'm on a brand new layer. Cool. We're going to just tidy up our lines on this one and just spend a bit of time just focusing on bringing the line weight and the elements that we want together nicely. Because once the lighting starts to happen, this is what's going to make probably the best effect on the design for everything. I might also make some some design change decisions at this point on a few minor elements. Just because I think it'll probably look better when it's actually finally done. If those bits kind of rendered slightly differently to the sketch. Oh yeah, that art style was absolutely amazing. I enjoyed that watching Vox Machina. Yeah, if he worked on that art style for the Amazon Prime series of Fox Machina, then yeah, I'm definitely up for that being used. Alright, so let's just get these here. That's why it looked wrong in that corner. I need to go. That's much better. Right. I'm trying to figure out which lines to work on next. It's the fun part of this design. If you're out here and you're liking what you see, guys, let me know. If you've got any art questions, also let me know. I appreciate there's no music and it does go silent times. The music wasn't being picked up properly earlier, but as I say, I do look at the chat from time to time, and currently I'm just inking out the Gwenom lines on this piece. What we've decided to do is do each character up to a certain point. So it's kind of like the flat colors and a super basic lighting is done, and then move on to the next one. Not sure we're going to get all of them done tonight, but we're going to get a couple done, just because it is quite late here in the UK for me. It's only about 11:20, but yeah. Um, and then we're going to kind of like just work on bits from there. Kind of like so next week or next Monday we're going to continue this illustration and we'll add more to it. And it should, by the end of it, look absolutely epic and awesome. It's kind of like going to be a bit of a project in the live streams, this one, but I want to share the process a bit more with everyone and just, take the characters one by one until we start working on the final lighting effect and just bring all of this artwork to life. And I am using reference images for styles that people have done. The line art, the whole rendering will be my own style, and most of how it gets put together is me interpreting stuff. But you will notice or seen the poses or the actual, in this case, Gwenom's symbiote from comics and stuff, because I am using quite a fair bit of reference for these, which is quite cool. And yeah, just working through them piece by piece. The idea is by the end of it, we're going to have quite a cool, kind of like a poster of venomized spider characters. Kind of like a comic-y style, so my comic style. Procreate is really good for doing the lines and that for it. It's not so good for recording it in terms of your screen recordings that get done, but it is absolutely brilliant for the rest of it. Definitely one of the best and most affordable rendering bits of software out there. Now, I'm not worried about some of the details and the lines around the character. I'm trying to keep them quite simple and add more in the lighting and shading stage with the rendering. So even after I've done the lights and the effects over top of this, it will look kind of cartoony to start with, and then it'll build up and become really cool with the effects at the end overlaying it all. Which should look really cool. I will look at in chat in a minute. I know Justin's put something in there. How do I think Kevin got his car? He built it. I'm assuming he probably stole the parts to build it in the first place, but I would say he built his car. I'd like to think he built his car, but you never know. He might not have. Professor Oak's voice actor retired because of throat cancer. Oh, damn. That's a shame to hear that. Did I get a green screen then? Or was it just me moving this? I couldn't tell. Let me know in the chat if it was just the artwork moving or if we actually had a green screen shot, because I did have some earlier, but I haven't looked at the screen. Not looked at the screen at the side while I've been doing this, so I'm hoping we've had no green screens flashing throughout the whole thing. No one screamed it at me anyway, which is quite cool. Yeah, I do want to keep an eye on that. Give her a bit of a chunky leg coming in this way. Ankle. I think that's the inks for this one done by yeah, she's got pink around here. I kind of want to ink the pink in. Wow, is that too vibrant a pink for it? I think that's too vibrant a pink for it. I'll dull that down just a little bit. I think this is more the pink. Yeah, that'll do. Cool. So if we take off that layer and we check we've actually got everything on this one, I knew there'd be lines somewhere. That's probably one of them. Definitely a large gap there. Um, that, that. Finding all of these little bits of the silhouette is kind of crucial because that again makes up the whole image, as it were. So that's going to be a clipping mask. So clipping mask and a clipping mask. That's going to have. Okay, so I'm going to want to do again a pretty much a blackish color to start with. I will put the grayish color in there now, which is going to be most of the selection for the non-symbiote bits. After I just make sure we've got all of the symbiote bits. Kind of potentially, I know the symbiotes don't survive very long, but when they do change and transform into these symbiotes, their forms, they've got all these little bits fly everywhere and all the artwork and stuff. You kind of wonder if they've kind of like made loads of other venom symbiotes out there that just aren't showing up. Be quite an interesting thought, really. I mean, sometimes the symbiotes, maybe it's not strong enough to survive. Maybe they just come off and they just, you know, reattach or something. It's one of those weird ones where it's like, how does that work? Cool. I'm glad you're appreciating how it looks so far, Cotty. Um, yeah, Eddie and Venom were the longest host pairing. Flash and Venom were the perfect host symbiosis. In fact, there's one storyline where Venom actually evolves enough with, I think, with Eddie to become a god. Literally just becomes an actual god, which is an insane concept. I don't know the whole story. I've just seen it mentioned and that, and I'm like, is this clickbait or is this real? Because if this is real, damn. I want a different color. So I know that the top of this hood in on Gwenom is also a white color. However, I will be doing a slightly different element to that. Oh, I've got a green screen happening. Hang on, guys. It's been a while since we've had that. Give me a minute and hopefully this will come back. Are we working now? Are we not working? Cool. Let me know if that green screen appears again. I think we had it earlier and I missed it. But hopefully the green screen's fixed now and it won't show up for a while or show up again. I'm not sure why that's happening at the moment, but I will need to check my setup in the next week if that is happening again. I'm hoping it hasn't happened too many times and while I've been here I've missed it because I think I've seen things flash a few times on screen, but I don't know if it's the actual green screen coming up or not. God of Symbiotes. Yep, pretty much. Um, Actually, I wanted to change that to a different blue. That needs to be like a lighter off blue for another layer, which also means that that oh, is on the wrong layer. You gotta love how designing works. You're off by one layer and it makes the hugest difference. Right, so the symbiote white is going to be a slight offshoot off the white that we've got here. And I'll use it on her teeth as well because her teeth are that. It's going to be like a more of a. So for her costume, I've given a kind of like a purple, a more purple hue into the color of it. But for this one, I've given more of a blue hue, and you can see they're not quite white, but as you can see on it, it makes such a difference between the contrast, so you know which parts are what. Um, it will make a massive difference to a lot of elements. Which is the key thing for this, because once we've got these elements sorted, it'll be like, yay, cool. It's just all these little nuanced, intricate bits for like teeth and stuff that you get in the symbiotes. They look so cool, but it's like drawing windows. It's like if they're scattered all over the place, like in this case, it's does take a little bit to do them. Right, so that eye is going to be that white as well. And this is all going to be that white color as well. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to move that to the layer beneath the other white layer, just so it's a bit pushed back a little bit. Just means that I can kind of like not be quite so cautious with this. It'll get hidden behind the other layer, so I'm not too worried about where they overlap. I'm more worried about where the darker spots here overlap than anything else. Okay, now if I bring this layer above it, solves that issue. Right, so the next thing I need to do is work on this layer needs a pink color, and she does have a, it is pink, but it's more that color pink on them. And I am aware there are blue web lines within this pink. I haven't drawn them in yet, but they will be added in a little bit. There we go. I think that's it for that pink. Usually it's inside of a hood other than that, and partway across the chest, but we've kind of covered them up. So I do want to add the blue lines. Now, I'm sure they're kind of like this color blue. I got a picture of it. Yeah, they are blue. Yep, that's cool. They look a bit green depending on the lighting, but that'll change a bit later on. The principle is that she does have those lines and they do go down. Following the flow of the arm. And again, this is the biggest secret in doing these is you can have these ones straight, but where you've got a fair amount of them, you want them to kind of follow the flow of the arm, and it just sells the effect. Let's see what happens if I we'll leave them on normal. That's fine. That's looking nicely. Now we want to do our symbiote tongue, which is going to be rather cool, and it's a rather pinker color, which is quite nice. And that's going to cover the whole inside of this. But let's move that around and see how that works. I need to get a drink a second, guys, so please bear with me. Kind of weird, we're 2 hours in and we're kind of at the second character kind of drawn out. It's probably the most productive live stream we've done on the channel so far. With me rambling on. But yeah, it is coming along quite nicely, this actually. I think I did spend about half an hour before the stream just planning out what characters I'm going to use and checking together that quick composition of kind of like, they're all, well, webheads. I'll call them webheads for now. They're all spider folk. And because of that, they're all sort of like web slingers and they're all going to be through the air and everything. So it's kind of like, got to get it all to work. Oh, that's too. Is that going to be the color? She kind of has a kind of like a bit. That's the color. It's kind of like a weird pinky red color for her, which is a bit annoying. Venom. Yes, Uncle Ben. there's quite a few. Yeah, Uncle Ben's probably the most influential character in any Spider-Man backstory. What makes Spider-Man truly Spider-Man is pretty much his uncle. Obviously Spider-Man's like got epic, the epic like, yeah, well, this, and this, and he's got the spider powers and he's everything else, but it's just like, yeah, the lessons from his Uncle Ben are what defined him as a person, and then, you know, the fact of what the defining moments of what stick with him are the things that make him who he is, which I quite like. They're the turquoisey colour, aren't they? So they're the bluish turquoisey green. Cool. Going for the same colour as what's supposed to be on her arm piece here. Jeez, if I do that, should, you might not see it on screen, but I'm just basically colouring over these. Just to add that greenish blue colour I used on her shoes in to kind of colour tie it in together. I think this is the design pretty much done, except for I kind of feel I want to make either the symbiote lighter or the symbiote darker. Okay, I want to make the symbiote part darker. Oh, I reached my layer limit. That's not helpful. There we go. That's darker, but that means that I can then be quite cheeky and make her legs lighter. The reason for this is I want some contrast between the symbiote and her actual costume, uh, even though it's going to be pretty much done the same and it's going to be in the similar area for a costume. I kind of just want it to be. That's interesting. Okay, that's fine. I made a mistake somewhere, but I will fix this shortly. I've done the wrong color on one of the shoes. I'm surprised that Ben 23 didn't have a Spider-Man reference. Um, yeah, I suppose they wanted to be careful because they might have ended up they might have gone down that route, but copyright's a really big thing when you get into doing animated things and that, and I reckon they probably either aired on caution or somebody just didn't think of a really good way of doing that. Although the whole Ben 10 universe from that is kind of a Spider-Man reference because the Spider-Verse, I'm pretty sure, was out before the Ben 10 universe, and they've already done from the cartoon one of the series that Peter Parker went to all the web universes, so like all the different universes to get warriors, and he went to one where Spider-Man was basically just an actor. He found out that he was literally just an actor. He had no spider powers whatsoever. Which he let him experience web slinging that properly, took him web slinging that and they had a mini adventure together, but it was like, yeah. Cool. So here's the main lovely Gwenum. Let's can delete that now. Keep that one for now. So I need to do my alpha lock for my layers. Just do what I'm going to do. You guys saw it on the last one. If you're just joining the stream, I'm basically adding a contrasting color for the shadows. Say contrasting. Even if the shadows are supposed to be black and dark, if you add a purplish color to it, it picks up that tinge when you do your lighting later. And it just adds to the effect a little bit. And then you just go more towards the blue for the next bit to make it look a bit more cross between comic-y and lighter. And then again, I'll be doing the same on this layer, where I'll be taking the just taking the color, shift a bit more towards purple for the darker version, shift more towards like the yellows and that for the warmer part of the color. Yeah, just getting as many shadow bits as I can in on this design without going too, without going too overboard on it. Which kind of looks a bit weird at some stages, like I'm doing now. But once I actually add the effects in, it's going to look quite cool. A bit more to the blue for this one. Make sure I haven't got any green screen appearing. Add that in the face to make that glow a bit, because I like doing this to make some of their features stand out a bit. I think we've got to, otherwise it's going to take away from the character and what we're trying to do. Also using similar color palettes, so if it's dark, I'm using the purples and the blue to keep it kind of consistent throughout the illustration. So when we add everything together, it's going to look really, it's just going to help bring the piece together really, more than anything else. This is kind of the weirdest lighting setup I've ever done on a tongue. Probably the weirdest design I've done on a tongue as well, to be honest. But I want to add a bit of an orangey color into this to contrast with some of the blue down here, so it comes up a bit lighter at some points. That works quite nice actually. These shoes are really simple to do. So again, go down diagonally and go towards the purple for the more shady bits. Oh, wrong there. Same principle there. And then just take the color and go up, and not quite so green, but highlights will be more along the green color. This is our arm pieces here. So I'm just going to, it's basically repeating the process, to be honest. You just want to pick the colors that kind of expand on it a bit and add a bit of warmth to it, or take a bit away, and you kind of want to bear in mind where your light source is coming from. So all my light source is coming from the top left down. So, I mean, on screen, it's going to be this way down. So it's going to be the reverse of what you can see for me for where the light's hitting. Just to confuse everybody with my example. It's the reverse of the example I'm showing you guys. Ah, enjoy. Let's take that up to the extreme the other way. Like on there. Just get these nice little I'm trying to get these gradient effects on because when you start adding textures over the top of these base flats with a bit of a gradient, it really helps the artwork stand out and pop more. And that's kind of what we're looking for. We're kind of looking to take this base flat color, go to a darker section of it, and kind of darken out the bits. Alpha locking a layer is really helpful, and be sure to do that if you've got something like an alpha lock or clipping mask on the next layer above it. And then once we've kind of got where we're going to have most of the lighting, you then want to take your base color and go the opposite direction to make it brighter. And that kind of will work for giving us our lighter color on our Spider-Gwen. Right, so that eye on here, I kind of feel I want to Gaussian blur that a bit. Duplicate it, erase it from that layer. Kind of just don't know. Eyepiece is kind of like no. Let's just take it back to what we had. I'll right, now if I erase it from that layer, oh, she's lost an eye. I kind of wanted to just Gaussian blur that out a bit. So that to an overlay. Maybe make that a bit more of a Gaussian blur. And then figure out this color bit to be kind of just make it glow in that corner bit a bit more, which should be quite cool. And then once I've done that, obviously merge these layers down. Before I do that, actually, I need to yeah, I kind of broke everything on this, but it will make sense in a minute. I want to add my symbiote texture in, but to do that, I need to create a new layer above here. Down to my dark color, hit this, but I want this to be on this layer only. So I only need it to go onto these bits. And then just put this to an overlay, drop the opacity down. And we've got a nice symbiote based texture there. And interesting. Okay, that's fine. So I now merge that down. That goes everywhere, so that's fine. So that needs to merge down onto that. That needs to merge down onto that. That's fixed it. Merge it down. Literally just flatten the layers after you've gotten the base colors and stuff sorted to merge down for everything. Other than your actual top ink layer, which you don't want to affect, which means these two. Um, add my two layers that I use because I do a hard light layer which has got a gradient texture on it, which is kind of like this noise texture I've got. I don't use a pure black for it, I use a slight black. Um, just to give it a bit of a gritty texture, which is quite cool. And then I might drop that down just a tiny bit. And then this overlay layer here is going to have the same color for the light that we had on the last character. Set to about 7%, and it's got the next one. And just make sure I'm on the overlay layer for this time. I'm just adding details in and a bit of light in for some areas. I want the faces to be lit up, even though the light's going to be coming in from this side bit. I'm just going to light up a whole section of the character as such, which is going to work quite nicely for what we're doing. Still going to be a huge amount. It's going to be kind of like darker. Because of that, you kind of want to highlight the side the light's coming from. But because I've done all these texture bits now, you can see where it's automatically picking up the light source to make it stand out. So that's our Spider-Gwen done. So I can group that. Yeah, I can group that. I'll probably duplicate that actually. And I can flatten that into a full flat version. So we've got our two characters that are, as you can see, I've kept it consistent so they're looking the same in a sense. And then we can start placing them where we want them. So according to our Spider-Gwen illustration, well, it should be showing, and I can't see why it's not. Oh yeah, because I made it larger, that's why. The Spider-Gwen is supposed to be down there somewhere with the others. So if I put the others on, then Spidey off. Turn Gwen off. Spider-Gwen was meant to go in the bottom corner here somewhere. So if I name Gwen, cool. And I lock that one. Lock that one, turn that one on. You've got Spidey, which is going to go. Spidey's going to go in the center around here somewhere. And our current Spider-Gwen go down there. And I can delete Gwen's layer there. So we've got two characters done, and we're 2 hours in. Not bad. Potentially should go for a third one, but which character should we do next? I kind of want to balance it out, so that means Miles will have to be next. Let me just check some second first, guys, because I will be doing just need to double check if soft light layer is going to work really well for this or the next one. I'm going to do the colors. Yeah, that soft light layer is going to work really nicely on that. Cool. So which one should we do next, guys? Justin wants me to do cyberpunk, spiderpunk next, which will be the top corner up here. Possibly. Yeah, why not? Let's do spiderpunk next. Let's have some fun. So that can go down there. In fact, I don't need these backed up layers now that I've got them. So I was going to save them for stuff. What I'll do is I'll actually just duplicate the layers we've got here, and I'll just lock and turn off two of them, and then I'll group the others in. Uh, Group that, rename that to be flats main, lock that and turn that off. So Mr. Spidery Punk is the one that you wanted. I don't know how his higher costume goes, but I've got a reference here. It'll be fun to do the character is going spiral. It would be fun to do the character is going spiral right away. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Justin. You might have to elaborate a little bit on that one. Oh, that's the like at the end because I can clip that over everything. Yeah, that will work at the end actually. So if I do that with a clipping mask over the end, that'll work on a lot of things. Cool. So now I've got to get the details in for him. I'm gonna have to shrink him down a little bit because I've got a feeling we're going to be making some hefty modifications. Cool. Right, so I need some references of Spider-Punk. You keep on going right until you make your way back when you're drawing the characters. Oh yeah, what you mean go round in the spiral? Yeah, I get what you mean now. Possibly Spider-Punk. Let's get a reference image up. So I've got multiple references. Oh, he's got more stuff than I expected to see on him. Nice. Just give Google a moment to load, guys. Probably killed half the string, but let me know if it's still going. That's quite a cool concept picture. I'm not going to be as detailed as that, but there's a few features I quite like the look of. So I need that one. Cool, that'll do enough. So Spider-Punk. You're thinking about drawing Spider-Gwen? Give it a go. By all means, give it a go. I kind of feel that his tongue will just. Yeah, I kind of feel his tongue will just go like that, and you'll just have a. You won't even have his mouth open so much. You'll just have a smile like this. Actually, no, his mouth will be open wide. Let's move that tongue down a bit. That's gonna be. Yeah, his mouth's gonna be wider than the others. Uh-oh, green screen, hang on. I spotted that. I'm gonna sort it. Unfortunately, I can't stop the green screens. I don't know why they're appearing at the moment. Could just be the cable's a bit loose or something, or something's happening. Cool, we're back. He's kind of got this. Attitude and the spidey eyes. That want that pose of his hand. I want to change it. That comes across that way. So I'll change that angle to be. Yeah, that's more of a spider punk style. Got a lot of yeah, a lot of bits on his design. Might have to be cheeky about how I symbiote this to. So he does have a spiky bit here, one here. Because we're on the symbiote, I kind of want the symbiote to be making more. Look like a hedgehog. Porcupine gone wrong. Ah, it's back again. Hang on, guys. I'm gonna swap out a cable a minute and see if that fixes it. Ah, cables are everywhere. See if this might solve it. I'm not sure why it's doing it because it's should be working fine. I'm gonna swap this cable out and see if this works. If not, maybe it's telling me it's bedtime. Cool, so we've got that back up. So I want its eye to be similar, but I kind of think Venom should have like a yeah. I will tidy the mouth up in a bit for the character. I kind of I'm figuring out where you want the design to change enough to be, you know, symbiote effect on it. So this bit's definitely a symbiote, this bit's not, this is that. Okay, so it's got these details going down here. Because he's changed his arm a little bit, he's going to be going down to this bit here. And his hand's going to have quite a few of the usual Spidey bits. Spidey! This is going to come down here because it's kind of flowing a bit. It's going to have a bit of a open jackety bit. And this side's going to have a bit of a. I'm going to do the symbiote bit on that side. Enough space, or are you going to give him his guitar and instrument? He's not only his guitar and instrument on, he doesn't have it on every image of him. Every image doesn't have it, so I'm basically just going with him, how he is, doing like the rock thing, and then I'll tweak bits. Yeah, I'm not going too OTT with the design because I'll be here all night with just one character. It's the core elements of each one. But something doesn't look right about this piece. I'm not liking how the character's looking at the moment. I don't know what it is. I just don't like the whole. I don't know if it's just the pose. I don't know if it's what we've got going on. I just don't like something about this piece. Just not kind of working for me at the moment, this design. It's weird because I kind of liked the design initially when I drew it out, and now I just don't like what I've got. I just don't think it's working as well as it should be. We'll worry about the web later, that's not going to happen now. Potentially, Justin, that might be another stream idea. We'll see what happens with that one. Yeah, I don't think this is the best pose for the character, to be honest. I think I've kind of messed up on that. Hmm. How do you think no suit or suit? Oh, so you got to have the suit. Maybe have the suit, but with her head showing as in a normal head where she's got the mask off, or something like that. Yeah, I'm not liking this character that I've drawn too much than this one. This one I'm struggling with. It looks like it's where should I put it? Sorry, I'm just checking the corner of my eye if I'm getting this green screen or not. Yeah, this just does not look right. Oh my God, what have I done to this? Right, let's see if I can salvage any of this. God, I've made this look weird. Oh, he's got the weird punk vibe. Give him that much. Um, I don't know. I think this just doesn't work. Hmm. That's the quite an interesting idea. I really don't like how this guy's turned out. Just, yeah, this it's just the weirdest. I think the whole proportions are just wrong in general for me. Um, I really don't like this. Something just does not look right for me. It just doesn't sit right. I can't place it. It's just not working at all for me in terms of design. Something is just not. It just doesn't. I don't know what it is. Just something just does not work with this entire illustration on this one. That just does not work for me. I mean, if I had the others back in and then just shrink them down and place them up for now, it just doesn't look right. I don't know what it is. It just does not scream. I think we're going to have to come back to him. I think we are going to have to come back to Spider-Punk to do justice. I don't like it. I need to look into what's wrong with that. That doesn't. It's not just the arm on the right. It's the angle, the pose, the whole body looks completely out of whack. I need to reassess that. So got the original Spider Woman, Miles Morales, uh, everyone, cause yeah, Funky's looking a bit weird. Yeah, and just looking at the time, and even if I redraw the person, I tell you what I'll do is I will come back to that a bit later for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, if I do that over the flats main, will that pick up all of the flats on? I just want to test something a second. Ah, that won't work until these are flattened out, so that doesn't work until if we unlock that, merge down, and then I do the clipping mask, that will work for them. So I can work on both of them at the same time, but they've all got to be flattened layers. I need to have them all how I want them in the first place. Right, so at least I've established that. Yeah, I really don't like that. I'm getting rid of that. Okay, let's have a look. I'll try redrawing the posing of Spider Punk. Let's see if we can find an actual pose that works. Actually got one in here that might work. Just have a quick look, see if I've got a spider punk in here that I can use. That pose might work. Or will it? That look off. That's got to be a main pose for the middle bit. The beauty about looking at Spider-Man comics is I've got all the possible poses I could actually want. I just need to find the one that works. Because he's so dynamic, it's just finding the right angle for him. It's just like, yeah. So it's not that one. Let's put them there. So get them out of the way. What if it was Gwen instead of Miles that said hey in the first movie? Um, no idea really. That'd be an interesting concept. Right, see if I can find one. So many Spider-Man. No super funky pose that I want to use. Infuriating when you kind of know you will need a pose and you can't figure it out. So what's everybody up to while I'm hunting for a reference pose in this? Mm. That'd be quite cool, Justin, if you give her that outfit. All right, let me get a drink and then I may have to leave it here tonight and pick this up on the next stream after rethinking that pose. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it here while we've got a nice two characters, and then I'll pick this up next stream with a pose for Spider-Punk. We'll start off the stream off using that because I need to think about that, and if I start something else now, it's probably going to take a little while to do. Oh, excuse me, guys. It might take a little while to do, and it's 12:30, so I will leave that here with these two done. So we've got uh, Venomized Spider-Man and Gwenom. We'll add two more characters in the next stream, if not all of them, and then we'll get it sorted from there. So thank you everybody for joining the stream. Really do appreciate it. And I will catch you on the next one Monday, where we will, well, the next stream's Monday next week, but we'll continue this more. And yeah, keep an eye out for Friday's video. All right, I'm going to say night, guys. Bye.